Bosham, BZM, is a coastal village and civil parish in the Chichester district of West Sussex, England, centred about 2 miles west of Chichester with its clustered developed part west of this. Its land forms a broad peninsula projecting into natural Chichester Harbour, where Bosham has its own harbour and inlet on the western side. Geography. The parish has an area of 3,400 acres. In the 2001 census, its 2,847 people lived in 1,313 households, of whom 1,358 were economically active. Governance. An electoral ward in the same name exists. This ward includes the civil parish of Chidham and Hambrick, with a total population taken at the 2011 census of 4,256. Neighbourhoods: Broadbridge, sometimes known as North Bosham, more developed round the A259 road and the Coastway Railway line, including Bosham Railway Station, as with most stations in the county, with direct services to London as well as the cities of Brighton and Portsmouth. The locality is increasingly referred to by its earlier name of Broadbridge. Bosham Village and Bosham Ho. Bosham is surrounded by varying width green buffer land, the vast bulk of which is the south of the peninsula. This includes the site of the original village centre on the harbour, as well as the farmland and private property of Bosham Ho. At spring tides the sea comes up high, flooding the rural lower road and some car parking spaces. History. Roman. The site has been inhabited since Roman times, and is close to the famous villa at Fishbourne. The Romans were responsible for the village's mill stream, as there was no fresh water, and built a basilica there. Tradition holds that Emperor Vespasian maintained a residence in Bosham, although there is little evidence of this. There are, however, the remains of a villa popularly thought to belong to Vespasian, at the stone wall in the parish. Pottery and tile fragments, of both Roman and early British period, have been discovered in the area, confirming pre-Anglo-Saxon activity. The Roman harbour here was known as Magnus Portus, and its position, as latitude and longitude, was plotted as part of Ptolemy's geography. Anglo-Saxon and Norman periods. Much of Bosham's history during the early Middle Ages is ecclesiastical. Bede mentions Bosham in his book The Ecclesiastical History of the English Nation, speaking of Wilfrid's visit here in 681 when he encountered a Celtic monk, Dicule, and 5 disciples in a small monastery. The village is one of only 5 places that appear on the map attached to the Anglo-Saxon Chronicle of around this time. In 850, the original village church was built on the site of the Roman basilica, and in the 10th century was replaced with Holy Trinity Church, situated beside Bosham Quay, that still serves as the local place of worship. There is a tradition that a daughter of Canute the Great drowned in a nearby brook, and was buried here, although there seems to be little evidence for this. The tradition was originally linked to a 14th or 15th century effigy. In 1865, a coffin containing a child's skeleton was discovered, buried in the nave in front of what is now the chancel of Holy Trinity Church. This was thought to be Canute's daughter. Canute had a palace in the village, probably where the manor house now stands, or possibly at the harbour's edge. Legend has it that Bosham was the site at which he commanded the waves to go back, so as to demonstrate to his overly deferential courtiers the limits of a king's powers. There is a legend that around this time Bosham Church was plundered by Danish pirates, who stole the tenor bell. As the pirate ship sailed away, the remaining church bells were rung. The tenor bell miraculously joined in, destroying the ship. The bell is still said to ring beneath the waters whenever the other bells are rung. Harold Godwinson Bosham is mentioned by name in the Bayeux Tapestry, referring to the 1064 meeting of Harold and Edward the Confessor on the way to meet William of Normandy to discuss who would succeed Edward to the throne. ubi Harold dux Anglorum me sui milites equitant ad Bosham ecclesia, Harold's strong association with Bosham and the recent discovery of a Saxon grave in the church has led some historians to speculate that King Harold was buried here following his death at the Battle of Hastings, rather than Waltham Abbey as is often reported. The speculation began in 1954, when the nave was repaved, and the body of King Canut's reputed daughter was re-examined. It was discovered that the body of a richly dressed man was buried beside the child's. A request to exhume the grave in Bosham Church was refused by the Diocese of Chichester in December 2004, the Chancellor ruling that the chances of establishing the identity of the body as that of Harold II were too slim to justify disturbing a burial place. Domesday Book. The Domesday Book lists Bosham as one of the wealthiest manors in England. It included the nearby village of Chidham. Bosham was confirmed to be in the possession of Osborne, Bishop of Exeter, who had been granted the land by his kinsman, Edward the Confessor. It possessed 112 hides in different parts of the country. Landmarks. Chichester Harbour, a site of special scientific interest, is partly within the parish. This is a wetland of international importance, a special protection area for wild birds and a special area of conservation. The harbour is of particular importance for wintering wildfowl and waders, of which 5 species reach numbers which are internationally important. The Holy Trinity Church is an historic building of some note. It has been in existence at least since Anglo-Saxon times, and is mentioned in the Domesday Book. It has been dedicated to the Holy Trinity since the early part of the 14th century. Its previous dedication is not known. Much of the building retains its original Saxon architecture, dating from about the late 800s. The tower houses an original Saxon window. There is also a 13th-century crypt, which is speculated to have been a charnel house used to harbour the bones of those from the collegiate church nearby. Sports and recreation. Sailing club forming a part of Chichester Harbour. Bosham Harbour is home to large membership Bosham Sailing Club, founded in 1907, having private sailing and motorboat moorings. Bosham FC. Bosham Football Club was founded in 1901. They were one of the founding members of the Sussex County League Division 3 in 1983. Bosham have won the Division 3 title on 3 occasions, and finished runner-up once, earning promotion to Division 2, with their highest finishes being 7th place in 1985-86 and 1994-95 seasons. This period also saw the club take part in the FA Vase. In 2012, the club were demoted into the West Sussex League on ground grading issues, and now play in the league's Premier Division. Also known as the Robins, the team play their home fixtures at Bosham's local recreation ground on Walton Lane. The club also operates a reserve side and youth team, known as the Bosham Cygnets, composed of local youngsters. Bosham Cygnets. Bosham Cygnets is a youth football team who currently compete at both under 15 and under 18 level, where the club has 2 sides, in the Arun and Chichester Youth League. The club play their fixtures on a Sunday. Over the years, the Cygnets have been renowned for encouraging young footballing talent and acted as a feeder for regional centre of excellences at local professional football league clubs, including Portsmouth, Southampton and Brighton and Hove Albion. In media, Bosham is featured in Fire, the 12th episode of the first season of the American science fiction television series The X-Files. In the episode, Mulder and Scully are visited by a Metropolitan Police detective who studied at Oxford University with Mulder, and who enlists their aid with a case involving a serial killer capable of pyrokinesis.